All right, hello everybody. This is Shane, your chair of the Transportation Safety Committee. And nice to see everybody in this new year, first meeting of the new year, 23, at least the people that are in person here today. And I know we have about a half a dozen online. So we'll call this meeting to order. And for those of us around the table, some reminders, please be mindful of your microphone in front of you. The green means you're ready to speak. The red is your microphone is off. And those who are online here today, remember, please man your mute button. Please unmute yourself when you're ready to talk and then put that mute button back on so we do not get that background interference, so we can make sure we have a productive meeting. And just a reminder for those participants on the phone, *6 to mute and unmute, and then also *9 to raise your hand. And I'll probably depend on Mohammed today for people that might raise their hand too. So we'll work with that best we can here today. All right, we'll begin the meeting by doing a roll call just to make sure we have the members needed to continue. So Mohammed, if you could go ahead and do the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. I'm going to do the roll call by calling your name. Please indicate your presence. Shane Kiso from City of Apache Junction.
I'm here.
Tony Abbo from City of Glendale. Stephen Back from City of Mesa.
Present.
Kate Dronowski from City of Litchfield Park.
Here.
Brandon Forey from City of Peoria.
Present.
Robert Gray, Arizona State University. Alberto Goodyear from Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Tara Harman from Pinal County.
Here, my name's Steve Abraham. I'll be filling in for Tara today.
Raymond Huang from City of Chandler.
Present.
Sergeant Michael Hunt from Arizona DPS.
Present.
Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
I'm here.
Jan Martin from Town of Queen Creek. Mason Muradovich from Maricopa County Department of Transportation.
Present.
Harry Osborne from City of Maricopa. Dana Oziani from City of Surprise.
Morning, I'm here.
Aaron Pinkerton from Town of Gilbert. Matt Reek from City of Goodyear. Adrian Ruiz from Valley Metro. Nick Russo from City of El Mirage. Christopher Salas from Town of Florence. Sam Taylor from City of Scottsdale.
This is Kiran Guntupalli with the City of Scottsdale. I'm here for Sam. Good morning.
Raj Thorum from City of Avondale.
I'm here.
Ellie Volusin from City of Tempe.
I'm here.
Kerry Wilcoxon from Arizona Department of Transportation. John Willett from City of Buckeye.
Present.
Are there anyone that we have missed or anyone joined later?
Tony Abbo, present.
Thank
City of Glendale.
Mr. Chair, if I could as well, I wanted to see if we have Mona Aglinzwick from ADOT on the phone virtually.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, are you here as Carrie's proxy as well today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member. That concludes the roll call.
All right, looks like we're still good to proceed. So we'll go to agenda item number 2, which is the call to audience. This is the opportunity for public to comment on items that fall under MEG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. Members of the public who are attending in person may deliver their comments from the lectern at the front of the room. You have up to 3 minutes to complete your comments. MEG staff will notify you when you have 1 minute remaining and when your allotted time has expired. I have not received any request to speak cards on this agenda item. Are there any members of the public here today who desire to speak on this item? I do not see any. Mohammed, do we have any written comments that have come in for this item?
Mr. Chair, we received no comments for this item or any other item on the agenda today.
All right, thank you. Kieran?
Just a quick comment on it. The item is listed as number 3 on that posted agenda, so you may want to switch it out in the future.
Thank you. All right, I think we'll move on to number 3, which I have is the approval of the minutes and the slides in the room. Yeah, that item is number 2, but on our regular agenda, is it 3 or is it still 2? 2, okay. So we got them mixed up, so thank you, Kieran. All right, we'll do the approval of the minutes from the Transportation Safety Committee meeting held on November 15th, 2022. Does any member of the Transportation Safety Committee have any comments or suggested revisions to the November 15th meeting minutes? All right, I'm not hearing none, and I'm sure you all read through those long, lengthy minutes word by word. Do I have a motion to recommend approval of the November 15th, 2022 meeting minutes? I move to approve.
This is Carl Langford. I motion to approve the meeting minutes.
All right, Zahn had the first, and Carl, I heard you, if you want to claim the second. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and get a voice vote for those folks that are here in the room. And for those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition say nay. Nay. And if anybody abstain. All right.
This is Kiran and I'm abstaining as I was not at the meeting.
All right, thank you, Kieran. And now we'll go ahead and do those that are virtually through roll call. So please mind your mute button, and Mohammed will go ahead and do that. Mohammed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. I'm doing the roll call for the minutes approval for those one attending virtually. Tony Abbo from City of Scottsdale.
Aye.
City of Glendale.
Aye.
Stephen Back from City of Mesa.
Aye.
Kate Runaski from City of Litchfield Park.
Aye.
Brandon Furry from City of Peoria.
Aye.
Steve Abram from Pinal County on behalf of Tara Herman.
Dane, we were not at the meeting.
Raymond Huang from City of Chandler.
Aye.
Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Aye.
Dana Oziani from City of Surprise.
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Raj Thoram from City of Avondale,
Aye.
Mona Oglan on behalf of Kerry Wilcoxon from Arizona Department of Transportation,
Aye.
John Willett from City of Buckeye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that we have missed? Mr. Chair, that concludes the roll call for the agenda approval, minutes approval.
All right, sounds like the minutes do pass, so we'll move on to the next item, which is item number 3 or 4 here, Program Manager's Report. And we'll have Margaret who will provide a report on items of general interest for the committee. Margaret?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Happy New Year, members of the Transportation Safety Committee. I have a couple of items on my report today for general interest, and one I'd kind of like to add at the end. The first one, the next slide, please. The first one is the 2022 and 2023 project updates. As you can see on the screen, we have completed most of the fiscal year 2022 road safety assessments, with the exception of one Phoenix RSA that we hope to finish here by the end of the fiscal year. There was some construction activity going on at the location, so we are deferring this project until such time that we can have the location return to normal traffic conditions. Mohammed will be talking a little bit more on the fiscal year 2023 RSA, so we'll defer to his item. Fiscal year 2022 Safe Routes to School studies. Again, a good portion of those are complete, with the exception of studies at the city of Phoenix for, I want to say, 2 schools that will be completed by the end of this fiscal year. Again, we have issued a notice to proceed and executed task orders for most, if not all, of the fiscal year 2023 Safe Routes to School studies. One of those, if you remember, was the City of Peoria Safe Routes to School study. That one will probably go beyond the June 30th fiscal year deadline due to the unique work that's going to be done on those Peoria studies. One reminder I put here right in the middle of the sheet here, we have the local agency safety studies. We have not yet identified any studies at this point. However, just as a reminder, those are projects that come in at the request of you all. And that call for projects is actually open until March 6th. There's a deadline of March 6th to get any requests for funding of those studies in by March 6th. I'm going to skip CME AZ for a second. I'll have Chris give a report. We do have the second set of pedestrian and bicyclist near miss pilot projects that we're going to be working on. This is a project that Mohammed is working on closely with our emerging technologies program manager. So we'll be getting those up and running here and hopefully getting those done within the fiscal year by June 30th of 2023. Again, I'm going to defer the predictive safety implementation for another agenda item for Mohammed. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to give us just a very brief kind of update on where we're at with CME AZ.
Thank you, Margaret, Chair, and members of the Transportation Safety Committee. So for CME AZ, we are continuing to coordinate with FHWA on determining future evaluation methods for the program. We have also received the end of year survey reports. So that goes over knowledge of traffic safety laws, reported behaviors and perceptions of traffic safety in the region. So we're reviewing that. We're going to be scheduling our next task force meeting in February, so right around the corner, and reviewing that with them. and we'll take back any recommendations from that task force meeting to the committee. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, on to the next item. Next slide, please. Just an update or a report on the 2023 Transportation Research Board Annual Meeting. This year's meeting, as you can imagine, the attendance is climbing back up from coming out of COVID. Last year, there was about 6,000 people. I understand there was north of 10,000 people attending this year's meeting. And for those of you that are not really familiar with that annual meeting and what is done there, the different panels here on the presentation that you see on the screen kind of give you a good flavor of what happens at what we call TRB AM. There's a series of workshops, lectern sessions, poster sessions, committee meetings, and of course, chairs plenary, which included Secretaries Buttigieg and Granholm this year. The workshop was the Applying Safe System Approach to Overcoming Challenges. And this was to really illustrate or showcase how specific countermeasures and strategies help to mold a safe system. And this is going to dovetail into my last item, but there's an exciting opportunity for us in March that I'll speak to here in a little bit. Some of the paper awards, and just to make everybody aware that I am a member of the ACS 10, which is the Transportation Safety Management System Standing Committee. And one of the main functions of committee members is to review papers that are submitted. Some of the key paper awards this year were for related research to wrong-way driving, linking police and EMS records, predictive safety analysis tools, as well as vulnerable road users. I also attended a session called Research to Practice. This was really a brainstorm to develop strategies to ensure transportation safety practitioners require and that researchers contemplate knowledge and technology transfer options for their research topics. The poster session this year, there are hundreds of posters based on papers that were submitted that were accepted for posters. I did go through one morning, and one key one kind of stood out to me, and that was for the flashing yellow arrow research that was done. The key element there that kind of stood out to me, that the results showed that for intersection with either a single left turn lane or dual left turn lanes, 24-hour and time of day flashing yellow operation types reduce crashes by a little over 8% to 50%. However, intersections with dual left turn lanes experience a 31.2 increase in total crashes when switching from the 24-hour to the time of day operation. While intersections at a single left turn lane can see 60% decrease in rear end crashes. So that was one of the key ones. One of the things that I typically do after TRB is I start downloading papers that I find of interest. And if anybody wants to reach out to me or have interest in some of the papers, I'd be happy to share those in the future. Also, as I mentioned, we had the ACS 10 annual meeting. We discussed the upcoming strategic plan update, subcommittee updates, as well as a hot topics presentation. Last year, we held the first hot topics competition. This is in our effort to come up with some really good research projects that can be submitted to the AASHTO committees for consideration of funding. So we also had some really good presentations from New Zealand. It was called New Zealand Approach to Achieving Systemic Safety, Safe System Solutions Through Safer Speeds. There was some announcements that might be of interest to this committee. There are some case study workshops that are going to be coming up, as well as the FHWA speed management workshops. In addition to ITE announcing that they're contemplating road safety assessment licensure. This year, I kind of jumped in and chaired the school transportation subcommittee. Their chair was on maternity leave, so I was asked to chair that committee. We had a presentation from NHTSA on current priorities and interests in pupil transportation, illegal, and there was a lot of talk about illegal school bus passing. One of the main things also at those meetings is to lead a brainstorming session on future research. And a couple of things I thought were of interest to this committee, as we have discussed these things before, is the impact of school choice and charter schools on travel mode. The other was how to attain, retain, and train crossing guards. And a lot of the challenges that some of the people on that subcommittee are facing are some of the same challenges that we discussed back in, I believe, September of last year at this committee. So there might be some research projects that come out of that would be of interest to this committee as well. And then I mentioned as well the chair's plenary, which was Secretaries Buttigieg and Granholm. They were talking about their collaboration on electric vehicle chargers as well as zero emission fueling. And you can see there at the bottom of the screen, just some of the main themes that I heard throughout the entire week. It was held from January 8th through the 12th, were slower speeds, equity, safety culture, and tools. Next slide, please. So we have an exciting opportunity that I would like to make you all aware of. After today's meeting, I'll be sending out the Outlook invitation. You can accept it if it fits in your schedule and you are able to attend. This is a subset of, not a subset, but kind of in alignment with the workshop that I talked about that happened at the Sunday TRB meeting. To really showcase new and innovative safe system solutions, innovative approaches for evaluating projects through a safe system lens, a framework that measures safe system alignment with project planning, and also that measures safe system alignment within policy documents. So one of the key areas of interest here, as you kind of see the theme in those bullets there could be potentially a supplemental analysis as part of the HSIP project identification and prioritization. So just a little bit of background on this. There were 8 agency projects that were selected from over 50 potential applicants to facilitate pilot workshops regarding infrastructure, planning, and policy. MAG was one of those agencies that were selected from the 50 states. Workshops are an opportunity to work with pilot agency and neighboring local agencies to kind of showcase this framework. The goal of the workshop is for FHWA to obtain feedback from workshop attendees regarding how we can modify and improve the 3 frameworks. Therefore, the workshop attendees will be given feedback forms and polls throughout the workshop. The workshop itself is going to be held on March 7th. It is, I believe, a whole day workshop. I think it ends at 3 p.m. But like I said, I'll be sending along the invitation to you all. We also have had some interest from some of my counterparts over at the other MPOs and COGs that I'll also be sending the invitation to. So, and then the last thing I don't have a slide for, I just kind of wanted to remind the committee that the fiscal year 2024 road safety program projects that we evaluated at the November meeting, the list of 5 projects that this committee recommended will be at regional council tomorrow. So the next step after that, regional council would approve those for funding. We'll have identified a tip ID for those, and a project initiation will be sent out via email by the end of the week to those local agencies who are receiving the RSP funding for fiscal year 2024. The tip ID is required and needed for you to start developing joint agency agreements. You can actually start looking at the joint agency agreements. You can find those under materials at azmag.gov/RSP. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Chris. And like Margaret said, if anybody's interested, it looks like there's a lot of good stuff out of that transportation research annual meeting. So as Margaret said, if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to her. And if there's any other questions on anything.
Mr. Chair.
Yep, Ms. On, go ahead.
Margaret, I have a quick question about the LASS that you mentioned there's still time to apply. How can an agency find information on for this? And is there like a limited funding per agency? If you could please elaborate on that.
Excellent questions. Thank you, Mazen. Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee, we do have an annual budget available of $100,000 in the Local Agency Safety Studies Program. You can find more information again at azmag.gov/LASS. The information in the background on the program is included on that webpage, as well as the downloadable application that you can submit. And again, we need to have the applications in by March 6th. We typically set the first Monday in March as the deadline because we feel like that's the time that we need in order to get a task order and a consultant identified for the work that needs to be done so that we can finish within the fiscal year.
Just to continue with the program manager's report, City of Scottsdale was also at the poster sessions at the TRB presenting left in, left out median operation and the safety performance of it. And we see a lot of benefit with using left in, left out medians at T intersections. And we want to further the research on that to see how operationally, how effective it is with the level of service calculation. So we'll be continuing that effort in the current fiscal year, and just to bring it to everybody's attention. Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing that.
All right, great. And we'll keep on moving on, but if you have any other follow-up questions, feel free to contact Margaret, email Margaret if you have any other further questions on her report or Chris's report as well. So we'll move on to the next item, which is item 5. This is fiscal year 24, 25, 26 Highway Safety Improvement Program projects. At the August 2022 Transportation Safety Committee special meeting, the committee recommended a list of MEG Region Highway Safety Improvement Program HISIP project applications for submittal by MEG to ADOT for eligibility determination. A 9-member ADOT HISIP Safety Review Committee met on December 19th, 2022 to recommend the statewide ranked list of candidate projects eligible for the HISIP funding. In addition, there has been some changes to the ADOT appointment for available funding, and another fiscal year of funding has been added. ADOT HISIP manager, Mona, who I believe is still on the line, will hopefully be able to give us a quick briefing on these changes, and MEG staff will follow up with the requested action to be taken. Mona, if you're still there.
Hi, good morning. I'm here. I'm Mona Aglan-Swick. I'm the Safety Programs Manager, and I'm here to provide you an overview on the latest HSIB call for projects. We started the call sometime in February, and we requested the local agency to submit all their HSIB applications for requesting projects for fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. The deadline for the call was sometime in April or end of April. We end up extending that deadline. Just want to make sure you guys hear me. Okay. We extended the deadline to May. End of May, and then we started reviewing all applications during the summer and the fall and the winter. And by the time, I believe sometime in December, I went on my annual leave, but there was several meetings between the HSIB Safety Committee and ADOT TISMO Management to approve the list of projects and prioritize the projects for the fiscal year 25 and 26. There has been several changes. And for that reason, we were continue reviewing the 5-year program and reviewing the E-step. And there was several things that we needed to take into consideration. One of them is the special rule funding requires for the state of Arizona. So Arizona has met the special rule for vulnerable road users and for the high-risk rural road. With that, that means we have to spend a specific amount of the HSIB funds on the vulnerable road users type of projects. And that's the non-motorized road users. And there is a percentage, which is 15% of the HSIB funds that is available in that year. And also we have met the special rule for high-risk rural road, and we have to set aside a portion of a certain amount of the funds that has to be spent on the type of projects that meets the special rule, which is the rural major or minor collector or rural local roads. And that amount also is set by Federal Highway. And also we needed to know that how much funds available, so we would be able to program based on the availability of the funds. We started with 44 millions of apportionment. We only allowed to program 90% of that amount. So we operated as that we have 40 million. And then we came later to find out with the transportation bill that we have actually 57 million apportionment, and ADOT management increased the HSIB obligation authority by 110. So instead of spending 90% of the apportionment, were allowed to spend or program 110%. That makes the HSIB program increasing to 62,700,000 per fiscal year. That includes the fiscal year 24 and 25 and 26. With all the additional money that we're getting, we needed to go back and check all projects that we already programmed and allow to start design early for some of the projects or move projects to advance in fiscal year 24 with having that extra amount of funds available in fiscal 24. So it took us a little bit time because instead of just designing in fiscal year 25 and construction in 26, we found ourselves that we need to program more in fiscal year 25. So the result was that we are funding all potential applications. I believe everything we received, we will be funding except 2 applications. We'll design some in fiscal year 24. And if there is projects that we were able to move construction from 25 to 24, we will reach out and program those earlier. Any project that has a greater benefit to cost ratio, more than 8.5, we were able to start construction in fiscal year 25. There has been some changes because we have not finalized yet the E-step and the 5-year program. We're still working with ADOT programming group, and we're still making some changes and corrections. So again, when we programmed or we approved applications, we taking into consideration that we need to set aside the 4 million for high-risk rural road and 15% of the total budget, which is 8,900,000 $8,500,000 for type of projects that mitigate the non-motorized road users. We are actually met the special rule for fiscal year this year, so we will have to spend that amount by the end of the federal fiscal year 23. We don't know yet if this rule will apply for the high risk and the vulnerable road users next year. We have received a total of 44 HSIP applications and 22 HSIP for state applications. The total was that was approved 66. So like I said, we have received originally 68 applications, and 2 of the applications were not approved. For MAG, we have a total of 7 HSIP applications that we have approved. The total amount is 20,700,000 and some thousand change. Some of the changes that we went back and made in the HSIP applications, again, the local agency and the state submitted to design in 25. We end up moving some to design them early in fiscal year 24. We've reached out to some local agencies and districts to increase their cost on their design or their cost estimate on the construction. We have seen, of course, we went back and revised the benefit to cost ratios based on the updated cost estimate. Some of the things that we've noticed in the HSIP applications that may not apply for MAG, but some of them is that they're requesting a shoulder width, for example, higher than 5 feet. And we have said in our HSIP manual that we don't approve more than 5 feet shoulder. And also some of the things that we've noticed using the crash modification factor, if you have a 5-star or a 4-star available, we will not allow you to use less than the 4 or 5 stars unless they're not available. So you can use the 3 or 2. We've also noticed some of the HSIP application we have received that the design cost is higher than the construction cost, and that was not acceptable. So again, we went back and reached out to the agencies and revised that. So what happened on, what's the next step? So ADOT traffic safety, we will go ahead and prepare the HSIP eligibility letters and send them out as soon as possible. We ask the local agencies and or the district if their project is starting design sometime in fiscal year 24 to start as soon as possible to send their submittal for initiating the project to ADOT LPA section. That would help to get project an ADOT project number. That would help to get an IGA started soon. And assigning, that would help assign ADOT to assign a project manager on your project. And for all MPOs and COGs, just make sure that your TIB matches your eligibility letters, the dates there, and that would match the STIB. And again, all the numbers should be matched if you are required to do an IGA. We want all the documents to be consistent. Okay, so if we're actually still, as of last night, working with ADOT, MPD, ADOT programming to program all the project. So any changes, so we're fully programmed for 24, 25, and 26. Any changes for anything, any project, increasing budget, moving projects around, it will require the project manager to go and take the project to the project review board. And there will be possibly going to the priority planning advisory committee, and again, to go back to the state board for approval. So there will be quite a process there. So the less changes in the project year or cost estimate, the better. We'll try our best to accommodate, but we are fully programmed. We do not have any additional funds available to make any changes. With that, that is all what I have, and I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. I think we have a question for Margaret.
Not necessarily a question, but before we take questions, to Mona's second to last point, which is why this item is on the agenda for recommendation of the list of projects. So in order to start developing your IGA, you'll need your TIP IDs. And so this is the process that gets that started. It starts at safety committee and it'll go through to regional council in February and then be placed in the TIP. So with that, I guess the only question I would have, Mona, of you, this listing was taken directly from the list, the larger list that was provided to all the COGS and MPOs for the statewide program. I just wanted to make sure that how you mentioned there potentially being a lot of changes. I guess my concern in moving forward with this agenda item is if there's going to be changes to what you see here on the screen, or really to the project listing that was distributed to the COGS and MPOs in December, on or about December 19th of 2022.
So I will have to go back and check the MAG list for the 7 project listed. I would say just give me until the end of the day today, I'll confirm. The plan is to issue the eligibility letter as soon as possible for the project that needs to start designing in 24, even if they're using their local funds. We want them to start getting a project number as soon as possible. So that's our priority. So we have, I don't remember the number, but we have maybe 10 or 15 projects on the list that we have to issue eligibility letter as soon as possible for them. But if you give me until the end of the day today, I will confirm the amount and the projects for MAG to confirm that we have not made any changes.
So I guess what you're saying is we can't take action on this today. And just as a reminder that if we don't take action on it today, we would have to wait until March to do that. They wouldn't be placed in the TIP until April.
Okay, how about just give me half an hour and I'll look it up quickly and confirm before the end of, would that work?
We could suspend this agenda item and that action until that time, yes. So just for your information, Mona, both the agenda packet, you probably already noticed, the agenda packet and the presentation are on the safety committee event webpage for today. If you want to take a look at those, and then we'll suspend this agenda item and go on to other agenda items and then come back to you.
Okay, that would work. Thank you.
If that's agreeable to Mr. Chair and the rest of the committee members.
Yeah, I think we can give it a try. My other thought is maybe approving upon confirmation by ADOT of the said list. I don't know if that would be acceptable, Margaret, to Meg. But we could get back to that point and make that decision.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'll look at it very quick and let you know.
I'm assuming that we'll take questions at that point as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll move on to item looks like number 6. Which is the fiscal year 23 implementation of the Highway Safety Manual based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region, consultant selection. The MEG 2023 work program identified a project to develop a tool for the implementation of the Highway Safety Manual HSM-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region. MEG recently completed a framework study for implementing the HSM-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region. The framework identified the data needs, data gaps, prioritization of data elements that need to be collected in implementing the HSM-based analysis in the MEG region. The MEG 2023 work program identified a project to develop a tool for the implementation of the Highway Safety Manual-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region. MEG recently completed a framework study for implementing the HSM-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region. The framework identified the safety needs, data gaps, and prioritization of the data elements that need to be collected for implementing the HSM based on analysis in the MEG region. MEG Transportation Engineer 3, Mohammed, will provide a brief presentation on this item. Mohammed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. So if you remember, so we did conduct a study back in FY 2022 to identify a framework for implementing HSM-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region. So based on the recommendations of that framework study, we plan to implement the HSM-based predictive safety analysis for arterial intersections in the MEG region. And for that, MEG back in 2022, October, advertised a request for proposal or RFP for seeking proposals from consultant or academic institution to implement the predictive safety implementation in the MEG region. So based on the responses to the advertisement of the RFP, we received 5 proposals, and we did form an evaluation team which consisted of MEG member agencies. So based on the evaluation of the evaluation team members and scores provided by them, we came to the conclusion of selecting a consultant unanimously based on the evaluation and the scores and comments and suggestions from the evaluation team. And based on the evaluation team's recommendations, University of Connecticut Transportation Safety Research Team was the one who was recommended by the evaluation team for implementing this project. So based on their recommendations, the agenda item today requests the member agency to take action on recommending the approval of the selection of the University of Connecticut to develop a tool for the implementation of HSM-based predictive safety analysis in the MEG region, and that if negotiations are unsuccessful, MEG pursue negotiations with its second highest scoring consultant, the University of Wisconsin. With that, Mr. Chair, we request you to ask the member agency to vote on this item.
Thank you, Mohammed. But first, if there's any questions by the committee at this time.
This is Kiran, Chair Mohammed. How long is this project, or when can we expect the predictive tool to be ready for us to be using it?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Kiran. So if you look at the slide, it says that the project duration is 18 months. We do plan to complete the project within the 18-month timeframe. Our anticipation that if everything goes well, the project should be completed within 12 to 18 months, but we have a project duration up to 18 months if needed.
And we at City of Scottsdale are ready to, if you're looking for any pilot sites to evaluate or look at something, we are ready to volunteer some segments or intersections in City of Scottsdale.
Yes, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. So when we will be nearing the completion of the implementation of this project, we will be making presentation to the Transportation Safety Committee and providing the member agencies with the network screening results based on what we come up with from this project. And the member of the Transportation Safety Committee members are going to be commenting and comparing the network screen list with the current network screening process that we have in place here in MAG also.
Thank you.
Any other questions by this committee members? All right, I'm not hearing any, so this is an action item. So we do have a motion here before us. So if I could have a motion to recommend approval of the selection of the University of Connecticut, develop a tool for the implementation of the HSM-based predictive safety in the MAG region, and that if the negotiations are unsuccessful, MAG pursue negotiations with its second highest scoring consultant, the University of Wisconsin. Do I have a motion?
This is Kiran with the City of Scottsdale. So moved, and thank you for reading the long action.
Thank you, Kiran. I got a primary motion. Do I have a second?
Nazimradovich, Magdat, I second that.
All right, got Mazan. Thank you for the second. So we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and do a voice vote for those here in the room. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That oppose say nay. Any abstentions in the room? All right, hearing none. So I'll ask Mohammed if we could do a roll call for those attending online.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. This is a roll call for a vote for the agenda item number 6. Tony Abbo from City of Scottsdale.
I'm from City of Glendale this time. I'm not going to let you
Sorry,
get by
City of
it. So,
Scottsdale, my apologies.
you know, this is how rumors start in the industry, but
This is the second time I did.
Tony, stop following me.
good one.
Yes, Tony Abbo from City of Glendale.
Aye.
Stephen Back from City of Mesa.
Aye.
Kate Runaski from City of Litchfield Park.
Aye.
Brandon Forey from City of Peoria.
Aye.
Steve Abraham on behalf of Tara Harmon from Pinal County.
Aye.
Raymond Huang from City of Chandler.
Aye.
Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Aye.
Dana Oziani from City of Surprise.
Aye.
Ross Totem from City of Avondale.
Aye.
John Willett from City of Buckeye.
Aye.
Have I missed anyone in virtual setting?
Aaron Pinkerton with Gilbert. Aye.
Thank you.
And this is Ron Gritman. I'm with the town of Florence for Chris Salas, and I'll also vote aye.
Thank you. And that concludes the roll call for vote for agenda item number 6, Mr. Chair.
All right, votes make the item pass. So if there's no further last comment, we'll move on to the next agenda item. All right, fiscal year 2023 Regional Priority Safety Implementation Toolkit Consultant Selection. So this is looking like it's going to get deferred to possibly our next meeting in March. Some things that are information yet needed with that, or will be forthcoming with that. Pay attention to, Margaret's talked to me about possibly having a special meeting before then, just so this doesn't get too delayed. You know, I'm very sensitive to additional meetings, and I know you guys are all too, but this is a item that we really need to get going. So possibly might be a special meeting in February, and that might be, you know, we might try to establish that to be virtual, so it'll be more convenient for us all to attend and get this item taken care of.
And Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes.
that would be, what we typically try to do is make it the same Tuesday of the month, even if it's a month that we don't typically hold a meeting. So it would be the fourth Tuesday of February. So look for information on that. And just as just a little bit more information, at the time that the agenda was sent out, we had anticipated that this would have had a recommendation from the evaluation team that was established. However, we want to do, this is a very unique piece of work. This, the RP-SIT, the Regional Priority Safety Implementation Toolkit, and we want to make sure that we spend the time that we need to in order to fully address the evaluations team's comments and concerns. So I wanted to go ahead and pull this agenda until such time that we can get that confirmation and recommendation from the evaluation team.
Thank you, Margaret, for that further explanation. So just keep that in mind for everybody's schedule. That fourth Tuesday in February looks like that possible special meeting. So we'll move on to item number 8. Top 100 list of intersections ranked by crash risk utilizing MEG region crash data for 2017 through 2021. MEG network screening methodology for the intersections was developed and adopted by the committee on January 2010 with the modification to the crash risk formula adopted in 2014. The application of this methodology for the most recent 5 years of intersection crash data 2017 to 2021 produced a complete list of over 23,000 crash sites across the entire MEG region, ranked by crash risk. MEG Transportation Engineer 3, Mohammed, will provide a brief presentation on this item. Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. As most of the members of the Transportation Safety Committee already have received the top 100 list of the intersections ranked by the crash risk using crash data for 2017 to 2021, 5 years. And thank you for your comments that you provided to modify or correct the top 100 list. As you know, so we produce annually the top 100 list based on the MAG network screening process that we have in place here in MAG for the intersections. Just to give you a brief history of the MAG network screening process for intersections, we just wanted to revisit a little bit about how the MAG network screening process evolved over the time. So basically the MAG network screening process for intersections is based on a metric called ISS or intersection safety score, which is an indicator of the crash risk. And it's a composite score of the weighted safety matrix of crash type, frequency, crash severity, and crash rate. When first it was initially adopted back in 2010, and that was based on a method which was developed by the Wisconsin DOT with help from University of Wisconsin. So back in 2014, this method was modified a little bit to consider the crash type, frequency, and severity, and not the crash rate because of the difficulty in getting the traffic volumes for the intersections, and also modified the weight a little bit to put more weight towards crash severity, as one of our main objectives is to reduce the severity of crashes. So the modified network screening methodology that was adopted back in 2014 is in place today. And that's the method that we've been using with our RTSIMS tool to screen more than 22,000 intersections here in the MAG region and come up with our top 100 list of intersections. And as you know, this intersection list is basically the starting point for discussion of identifying the road safety assessment candidate locations and PA candidate locations. Also, we receive a request from the member agencies to get them their own network screened intersections within their city or county jurisdiction. So feel free if you need your network screened intersections within your city jurisdiction, MAC should be able to provide you with that. So based on this year's top 100 ranked of the intersections in the MAG region, some of the observations that we saw was that the largest increase or jump in ranking was from intersection ranked number 147 to 41. So when we say the largest increase, this increase is basically in comparison to the previous list that we have right now on MAG webpage using data from 2016 to 2020, and that will be replaced by the current one that we have come up with. And also the largest decrease was from number 2022 to rank 99. And we have 10 new locations, although only one location we could see in top 50, which is ranked 31. One interesting observations from this year's top 100 ranked list of intersection is that we found that 79% of the locations which basically decreased in rank or basically improved in their ranking, basically going down from their previous list. We did a preliminary analysis and we found that 79% of those locations had at some point of time either RSA conducted or at those locations or some safety improvement already implemented at those locations or in the process of getting some projects implemented at those locations, either using HSIP funds or some other form of projects that's basically getting implemented at those locations. So that was pretty encouraging to see that improved ranked locations are having some interventions in terms of either having RSA conducted at those locations or having some safety project implemented at those locations. 5% of the locations, we saw that the ranking didn't change, and the agencies that were actually included in this top 100 ranking of the latest one includes, as you can see on the slide, Phoenix, Glendale, Avondale, Tempe, Peoria, Scottsdale, Maricopa County, Surprise, Chandler, Gilbert, and Mesa. Although we saw that City of Mesa had only one locations, and that was also at the very end of the top 100 list. So based on the top 100 rankings, now the next steps is basically based on the approval on today's meeting. We're going to be posting the top 100 list of locations and maps on the MAG webpage. And also one of the most important steps going forward will going to be to convene the RSA working group meeting. As most of the member agencies or members already know that we previously attempted to schedule the RSA working group meeting this week and the previous week before, in fact, the previous week before the Transportation Safety Committee meeting, but we couldn't converge to a common time by meeting the availability requirement for the member agency to convene the meeting. So our plan is to, after today's meeting, we're going to be sending a revised doodle poll to come up with the common availability for the member agencies so that we can schedule the RSA working group meeting as soon as possible. And based on the recommendations and suggestions and discussions from the RSA working group meeting, we will be working to finalize the RSA locations. And during the RSA working group meeting, and in fact, prior to the RSA working group meeting, we will make sure to provide the involved agencies with the list of the top 100 locations along with their site-specific crash data analysis by breaking down some of the prominent crash types and also the severity distribution of the crashes and also the vulnerable road users crashes. So thank you all the member agencies who previously submitted their response to the doodle poll for the previous scheduling attempt, but we will try to schedule the RSA working group meeting again by providing you with the revised doodle poll. So yeah, going forward, we will be convening the meeting and then we will try to finalize the RSA locations for FY 2023. So with that, I conclude my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mohammed. Any questions by the committee members at this time with that report that Mohammed just gave?
This is Stefan Bach with the City of Mesa.
Yep, go ahead.
Members of the MAG Transportation Safety Committee. Item number 99 lists the intersection Southern and Stapley, which was recently reconstructed and is in the closeout process. The scope of work was mainly intersection widening, removing and replacing traffic signal equipment, signing and striping, pavement resurfacing, and a raised median construction to enhance access control. This intersection will be monitored every few months to measure its performance. I just wanted the committee to be aware of it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. Anything else by committee members?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. This is Carl Langford. One question I have. Last year, did we end up doing RSA results with the last top 100? Just from my memory, that doesn't ring a bell. Or did we end up skipping a year?
Hi, Carl. This is Mohammed. Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, my question is, I think we somehow skipped a year of RSA in data. So we did have a top 100 last year, but I don't recall any RSAs coming out, and just trying to get clarification, or maybe I just am having memory fog.
Thank you, Carl, for your question. So we in MAG, we basically did not skip the year. Basically, what happened is the last network screening was done back in 2021, when we had the data available from 2016 to 2020. So what happened is when we had the data available for 2021 in late 2022, around like August timeframe of 2022, so we then came up with the latest network screening using data from 2017 to 2021. So what happened is, as you can see, we are presenting the top 100 rank of the intersections now in January 2023. But basically, that's basically using data from 17 to 21 based on the latest available data of 2021, which became available in 2022. And as because there's a the last network screen result was presented back in 2021, that may have given you the impression that we skipped a year, but we are not actually here. So if that clarifies the question that you have, Carl.
And
Yes, that clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just add, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee, and Carl. So the fiscal year 2022 road safety assessments that I reported on earlier, that we're now finishing up, were a result of that that network screening.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chair, member of the committee, Mohammed, please, if you could just take a look at ranking number 21 on the list related to 99th Avenue and McDowell. So this intersection no longer owned by Maricopa County, and I believe it's been turned over, I would say Avondale through an IGA, to be confirmed, please, but it's no longer signal or the intersection owned by the county. We basically own one leg of 99th Avenue.
And thank you, Mazen, for your comments. So we previously received this response from you in email. So we will be making sure to modify that one before we post it to the MAG webpage.
Thank you.
And we, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee, so we have received a few other comments from the other MAG member agencies to a slight modification to the top 100. So we'll make sure to modify that and finalize, post the final version of the top 100 on the MAG webpage.
All right, very good. This item was for presentation discussion. So just any last question before we move on from anybody? All right, hearing none. So I'll move to item 9, which is report by committee members.
Mr. Chair, if I may, members of the Transportation Safety Committee, maybe we should check in with Mona.
Sure. Mona, are you there? Do we have anything from your direction yet?
Yes, I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we hear you. Thank you.
Yes, I checked the list and I verified every year 7 projects. I verified the total at the bottom for each year, 24, 25, and 26, and everything matches the HSIP amount, the local match, and the other funds. So the list match what we submitted for the 5-year program.
Thank you, Mona. So, Mr. Chair, I think we can move on with questions, I believe.
Yep. Yes, so at this time, if we have any questions there before we move on to the action on this item, which is the HISIP list that is for us up on the screen at this moment.
Chair, Mona, a quick question. This is Kiran Guntupalli with the City of Scottsdale. Since ADOT came out with the HSIP call for projects, is there a location where ADOT posts all the results of HSIP projects that are selected or that got funded, other than state STIP, which is a large list of various projects that is a very complicated document for us to traverse?
Thank you for your question. For now, everything we're putting for HSIB, we're adding it to the 5-year program and to the what's called the ESTIP, the State Transportation Improvement Program, the electronic copy. And when the 5-year program receive approval from the board, it's going to be published. And I believe this time we are actually itemizing every single HSIP project with a page. And the 5-year program shows all the funds and just like the state projects. So that would be the resource that I would recommend, and it's public. The tentative program, I don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but the local projects and state projects funded with HSIB should be listed in the tentative program that will be published online too.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments by the committee? Oh, sorry there. My mic wasn't on. Any other last questions, comments by committee members?
This is Mazum Radovich, McDOT. Mr. Chair, Mona, just to confirm, letter of eligibility issued by, can you give us the date again, please, for those 7 locations? Thank you.
Are you there, Mona? I think we had a question. If you didn't hear it, we could have Masan here repeat it for you.
Sorry, I was on mute. So your question is when you expect to receive the eligibility letter?
That's correct.
We had a deadline from our management to get all the eligibility letters for projects that will be designed in 24 by Friday this week. So far, I have received 5 drafts of eligibility letters that I need to review and sign, and I have not reviewed yet. But it would be helpful to know what would be your deadline to include the projects in the tip, and we'll commit to send you your eligibility letters before that deadline to allow time for you to add the project to the tip. So if you give me your date, that would help.
Thank you, Mona.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Safety Committee, unless I misunderstood what Mona was stating or asking, I think the last question is really more for Mag. Just to clarify, Mona, are you wanting to know when these projects will be in the MAG tip?
I want to know when do you need the eligibility letters for you to be able to get your approval and take them through the process?
My understanding, and if I remember the process that we've had in place for quite a while, it's not necessary to have the letters of eligibility for the tip listing. This is the start of the process to get these projects listed in the tip. So it'll go through today's recommendation, and then it'll go through Transportation Review Committee on Thursday, and then through the MAG policy committees, finishing with Regional Council on February 22nd.
Okay, so that is good news. So we're not holding any of your process. We are anticipating to send the eligibility letter within the next 2 weeks. And that's what we think we can do. So far, like I said, we're prioritizing which eligibility letter we send out first. And one of the factors that was holding us back is that we were just waiting to confirm that our list is going to be included in the 5-year program. Like I said, we made some changes, but for the 7 MAG projects, there's no changes. So we will be glad to send the eligibility letter sometime beginning of February, the first week of February.
Great, thank you, Mona, for that.
Any last question, comments here before we take action on this item? All right, seeing or hearing none. Can I have a motion to recommend approval of the list of the MAG region HISIP projects, which I believe is attachment A in our packet and what we just saw on the screen here in the room, for inclusion in the MAG tip as required in the ADOT guidance? Do I have a motion?
This is Ellie. I motion to approve as stated.
This is, this is Tony. I second.
And Tony for a second. Thank you. So we have a primary and a secondary. So we'll go to a voice vote for those here in the room on this item. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions in the room? All right, there's none. So Mohammed, if we could do a roll call for those online for this vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and member of the Transportation Safety Committee. This is a roll call for vote for agenda item number 5. Tony Abbo from City of Glendale.
Aye.
Stephen Back from City of Mesa.
Aye.
Kate Drunaski from City of Litchfield Park.
Aye.
Brandon Furry from City of Peoria.
Aye.
Steve Avram on behalf of Tara Harmon from Pinal County.
Aye.
Raymond Huang from City of Chandler.
Aye.
Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Aye.
Dana Oziani from City of Surprise.
Aye.
Aaron Pinkerton from Tana Gilbert.
Aye.
Ron Gritman on behalf of Chris Salas from Tana Florence.
Aye.
Kiran Guntapalli on behalf of Sam Taylor from City of Scottsdale.
Aye.
Rash Thodan from City of Avondale. Mona Glenn on behalf of Kerry Wilcoxon from ADOT.
Aye.
John Willett from City of Buckeye.
Aye.
Have I missed anyone? in virtual setting? Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the roll call for agenda item number 5.
All right, with those votes, it looks like the motion passes. So any last thought, question on that item before we move on? All right, now we'll jump forward back to where we were at, which I believe was the report by committee members, which was item number 9. All right, I'd like to invite any members of the Transportation Safety Committee to report on any ongoing safety-related project activities in their jurisdiction. We will begin with those here in person in the room, and then I'll ask Mohammed to consult the roll sheet for those attending virtually. So maybe I'll start on this side of the room. Ellie?
Sure. City of Tempe has an ongoing safety corridor project or program in collaboration with our PD department. We have 4 corridors identified per year. So those new 4 corridors for 2023 have been identified. The signs will be moved. The PD has already arranged their kind of patrol routes for those 4 corridors, and we're arranging a near miss analysis at one of the major intersections on each one. So I'll happy to share the results of that if anybody's interested later in the year. Yes, I think so. It's Baseline Road from Kyrene to Rural, Southern Avenue from Kyrene to Rural, also Broadway from Rural to McClintock, and Priest from University to Broadway. I think I should get a prize for remembering them.
Mazmuradovich McDutt, no report at this time. Thank you.
This is Kiran Guntupalli with City of Scottsdale. Couple of months ago, Scottsdale submitted an RSP application for the results of an RSP that was conducted on McDowell Road. City of Scottsdale, and we were unsuccessful with getting the RSP funding, but we went ahead with some safety improvements that were identified as immediate, that is aligning the crosswalks with the ramps. So City of Scottsdale went in and reconstructed the ADA ramps to meet the basically align with the crosswalk. So that project, a portion of that project is successfully completed. Now we'll be looking for funds to do signal modifications and signal port relocations. That's our next on our to-do list. The other project that that Scottsdale submitted for RSP funding was intersection modification, signal modification at Indian Bend and Hayden Road. We went ahead with the design of that project, and we are trying to also implement it with local funds to basically resolve the safety need at that intersection. That's all I have from City of Scottsdale. Thank you. Sorry, take it back. I don't know if Sam updated the committee or not, but City of Scottsdale got funded for constructing a pedestrian hybrid beacon at Camelback and Saddlebag. The construction of that is complete and is fully in operation. Thank you.
Shane here with the City of Apache Junction, just sort of piggybacking off what Ellie said. We have a safety corridor too on South Ironwood from Baseline down to SR24. It's been in place for about a year, but I want to just report that it's one long construction work zone right now with our master plan community that's happening on the south side of our city. So just want to bring that attention to everybody. We have a lot of traffic that I think are bleeding off in Mesa. For example, Signal Butte just connected with the SR24. So a lot of traffic are starting to bypass Ironwood going over to Signal Butte, as well as Ellsworth, which I heard last week also has a restriction down to 1 lane. So a lot of complications with traffic getting to that far southeast valley into Queen Creek, Santan area there. So just a heads up on that and an update. Thank you.
Nothing in addition from MAG, with exception, just look for the Outlook invite for the workshop on March 7th.
Nothing from DPS.
All right, that's everybody in the room. So Mohammed, if you want to try those online.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, member of the Transportation Safety Committee. Tony Abo from City of Glendale.
Yes, I just wanted to briefly update everybody. The project on 53rd and Camelback for the Hawk, we're at closing in on the 100% design. We should have that hopefully sometime by the end of either the end of this month or beginning of February, and we're working diligently with the city of Phoenix on that, as they are on the south curb line of this project. And also we have moved forward with the 30% design for 58th and Bethany Home Road. And we also did a Hawk study for 59th and Evergreen, and it met warrants, and we're going to fund that locally. And so we have a consultant on board. In the interim, we put an RRFP, knowing that it's not possibly the best location for that, but it was an interim measure until we can get the Hawk design done for 59th and Evergreen. So that's what I have to, or only the only updates that I have for this month.
Thank you, Tony. Stephen Back from City of Mesa.
Yes, we also have some updates. We did some follow-ups on the First Avenue separated bike lane project, which is located on First Avenue, just east of Country Club, and had some promising results as far as separating bike lanes from live traffic, bringing down speeds, and also providing safety for bicyclists. Other projects that were going on in Mesa were the Mesa Drive-In Cross Cut Canal Path project, where we upgraded the crossings and installed RFBs, so rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Some projects are along the path and still under design. Furthermore, I would like to address here Farmdale between Signal Butte and Cheshire, a traffic calming project that is currently under design and includes raised crossing and other traffic calming items. And lastly, I do want to briefly mention that we have some planned traffic calming projects on McLellan Road from Alma School to Country Club, 2nd Avenue from Stapley to Horn, and Westwood from University to Rio Salado, some of which will be having raised intersections. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Kate Runaski from City of Litchfield Park.
We have no update.
Thank you. Brandon Forey from City of Peoria.
Yeah, one quick update. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have completed our RSP project for the median modifications at 75th Avenue and Thunderbird. And observing traffic from the CCTVs, it looks like it's made some pretty significant operational improvements, as well as providing much better sight distance with the positive offsets for those median modifications. So that one we have completed.
Thank you, Brandon. Steve Abram on behalf of Tara Harmon from Pinal County.
No updates, just eagerly anticipating the completion of the half dozen projects that are incorporated in Pinal County, and looking forward to those safety improvements on Ironwood, Bolt Canyon, especially with the hybrid beacon. Looking forward to those projects being completed. Thank you.
Was that Carl? I guess you dimmed out on us, Carl, there on the last part of your report.
That was not me.
No, it was Steve from Pinal County. We're just looking forward to the completion of the 6 projects that we have going on right now. So but nothing else new to report.
All right, thank you. We heard you better there. Thank you.
Thank you. Raymond Huang from City of Chandler.
Yes, Chandler kicked off a protected bike lane feasibility study this month. The study gonna develop some design guideline and then collect data and also do a feasibility study and where we can put protected bike lane throughout the city. Currently, we have one project on Pecos Road between Alma School and McQueen is under design for protected bike lane. But this study, it's more looking to more in general for collector and even arterial, where or if we can put protected bike lane throughout the city to promote more bicycle user in Chandler. That's all we have.
Thank you. Carl Langford from City of Phoenix.
Hello, Chair and members of the committee. The only thing we really have to mention today is we've recently activated Hawk number 85 throughout our city. And we have more in design in one form or another than I can count. So we're actively moving forward with a lot of those, and they're making good difference in our pedestrian safety.
Thank you. Dana Oziani from City of Surprise.
No report from Surprise today, thanks.
Aaron Pinkerton from Town of Gilbert.
Nothing for this meeting this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Gritman on behalf of Chris Salas from Town of Florence.
Nothing to report.
Rash Totem from City of Avondale. Mona Glenn on behalf of Kerry Wilcoxon from ADOT. John Willett from City of Buckeye.
Thank you, Mohammed. Nothing to report this month.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone from virtual participants? If not, that concludes the virtual members report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for everybody for those reports. So we'll move on to item 10, which is the request for future agenda items. At this time, do any members of the Transportation Safety Committee have any topics or issues of interest that you would like to have considered for discussion at a future meeting? This is your time to state it. I don't hear any. So if you do, feel free to email myself or Margaret, and we'll take any items for consideration for next meeting. All right, we'll move on to item 11, which is the next meeting date and place. The next regular meeting of the Transportation Safety Committee will be held at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. Attendance is in person is encouraged. I've lobbied hard for coffee, and I don't think we used much coffee here today, so I really appreciate person attendance to help me keep that coffee going here at the meeting hall.
Chair, I just want to report I finished my share.
All right. All right. So yeah, next regular meeting is that time. And as Margaret mentioned earlier, we're looking at that fourth Tuesday in February for a special meeting, which we will encourage virtual. So there'll probably be no coffee at that one for us here. So, all right, we'll go ahead now and adjourn. Appreciate everybody's attendance today and drive safe on the way back. So we'll go ahead and adjourn 11:33. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.